Okay, so yesterday we talked about commonly used terms in the IT industry, and then what we also said was that today we will explore how the different people that we talked about yesterday, for example, a development lead, a test lead, how do these or architects, how do these interact with each other? So we will be going to take a look at the IT team. So first we discussed about pre-project activities, things like what sales and marketing team does, RFI, RFP, okay, RFQ. During that discussion, we also discussed about different types of IT companies like product-based, service-based IT companies, and what basically they try to target. Okay. Then we looked at some of the commonly used terms in IT so that when you join any organization, you don't feel confused. Now today, we put all those together that once the sales marketing team work is complete, once a project comes to an IT company, and when it is time to execute, who are all the people that will be responsible for the execution of the project? Okay, so this will be a typical team structure, okay, of any IT team. The main partners of any IT team is a project manager or a scrum master who is majorly responsible for managing people, tracking progress of the work, ensuring that everything stays on schedule or everything stays as per the target that we have. Okay, the people that are responsible for execution of those targets, so scrum master or project manager is just tracking the targets, but who is responsible for executing those targets is the three main people, that is business analyst, developer, QA, quality analyst or tester. Okay. Business analyst having primary responsibility of getting the requirements. Developer's primary responsibility is to write code as per the requirements given by the BA. Okay, so whatever requirement BA gives, it's all theoretical in nature. Okay, let's say I want to build a login page, and that login page should allow users to enter their email ID and password. Okay, and when they click on submit button, it should validate and allow them to log in or give them a failure message if the email ID and password combination is not correct. Now, as a business analyst, what I'm doing is I'm just creating a theoretical model. It is not an actual model. It is not a working model. I'm just putting down my theory part. Okay. So in theory, I can put down anything. I can write anything that stakeholder and I have discussed. Okay. So business analyst creates that requirement document or the theory part. The developer is responsible for writing code against that theory part, and QA and tester is responsible for testing the code that the developer has written to ensure that there are no defects, bug or issues. Okay, I'm using all the terms that we discussed yesterday. Okay, and going forward also we'll continue to be using these terms only. I want you guys to get familiarized with these terms. Okay, the difference in any interview, when you appear for a business analyst interview, it's not that the work is very complicated or cannot be done. Okay, it is nothing like that. Mostly the challenge people face is the usage of terms. Okay, in any interview, the interviewer who is trying to judge what answers you are giving is also trying to judge what kind of language do you use or what kind of terms do you use. If I explain in simple term that yeah, BA will get requirements, that even a developer will know what BA will do, even a QA or tester will know what a BA will do, even people outside of IT industry can also Google and get to know what BA is doing. But what really matters is how do you explain it with the appropriate terms? Like as a business analyst, my primary focus is to connect with stakeholders, business stakeholders, to discuss with them on the requirement through a proper elicitation technique, which would eventually lead to requirement document creation. Okay. So in one statement, what I'm trying to do, I use the term stakeholder, connect with stakeholder. Why I'm connecting with stakeholder? To write down requirements. Okay. How am I connecting with stakeholder to write down requirements? I use any appropriate elicitation technique, which will eventually lead down to requirement document. Okay. Now, if I give answer in this statement, the other person automatically gets an impression that, yeah, this guy looks like he or she works as a BA. Okay. Because they're using all those terms like stakeholder, requirement elicitation, requirement documentation. So the major part in any interview is the focus on the usage of terms. So that's why I keep using these terms. If you are already part of IT industry, you also get into practice of using these terms. If you are not part of IT industry, but if you are working somewhere where these terms can be used, go ahead, use it. If you're not working anywhere, then don't worry. Whenever you ask questions, whenever you put forward your questions, ensure that you put forward your questions in the terms. We'll be having this course for next 1.5 month or so. So okay, 1.5 month is a good enough time to get into habit of using these terms. Okay. Now, these three, like I said, are responsible for execution: BA for requirement, developer for writing code, and QA for testing that code to ensure there are no defects or bugs. Okay. Now, usually all these developers, QA and BA, they will have their counterparts or their leads. Okay. For example, when I was working as a business analyst, I had a lead BA. Okay. This lead BA was responsible for my overall progress. For example, I have any technical doubts. I want to understand the system better. I want to give some suggestion on how to improve these requirement documents. I see that we are capturing too much information in requirement document and that is consuming lot of time, and I want to give some feedback on it. How do I do it? I go to my lead BA. There are new technologies coming up on the BA side and I want to get training on it. How do I do it? I approach my lead BA. Okay. So for my overall career growth, for my immediate doubts and resolutions, I have my lead BA. Similarly, or BA lead, whatever you may want to call it. Similarly, for developer, lead developer or development lead that we were talking about yesterday, both mean the same thing. So a developer has any technical doubt how to write a code, or their code is giving error, or they want to learn new technologies, or they want to go for certifications like how I was saying for BA as well. So they will approach their lead developer or development lead. And the same thing applies for QA as well. Okay. We all understand that there could be instances where an individual person may have doubts, problems, concerns regarding their growth, learning, or even technical doubts. So they can reach out to their approximate leads. Okay. Now, please note that the leads are not part of the IT team. Okay, because they may be involved with multiple team. A lead may not just be managing one BA or one or two developers, but they may be managing multiple people under them. Okay. So they they are basically part of multiple teams, so they kind of provide outside support. Sorry guys. So they kind of provide outside support to multiple teams. So there is one team like this, there could be multiple. Just a minute guys. Yeah. So there could be multiple teams. So just like how they are supporting one BA in this team, they could have, 4 or 5 BAs under them, and the BA lead could be supporting all those teams, so that if they are stuck anywhere technically, they need expert guidance, or the individual BAs have any suggestions, recommendations, concerns for their career growth, they can reach out to their lead BA. That's why they are marked outside of the team and not inside of the team, because they may be supporting multiple teams. Okay. Similarly, there are two more roles like product owner and technical architect, which are also indicated outside of the team. Much like the lead positions, the technical architect and product owner also supports multiple teams and not just one team alone. Okay. However, when it comes to BA developer or QA, they are more dedicated towards one team. If my current team does not have work, they can move me to another team. That is fine. But whichever team I go, that's the only team I'll be working for. Okay, I'll not be involved with multiple teams unless organization is running short of people. They don't want to hire new people from outside, so they put me under pressure and give me a lot of work. Okay, so that's a different case. Otherwise, it's only the lead level positions, the technical architect and product owner, that are more working with multiple teams rather than me. So similarly, technical architect, if I'm working on any project, like I said, the basic design of the project comes from technical architect. So if I am writing down the requirements as a BA, my technical architect could be the first point of contact, okay, to build a design or a solution for the requirements I have written before it actually goes to developer or tester. Okay. Now you see over here I have drawn an arrow has highlighting connection between product owner and business analyst. Okay. So as a business analyst, the primary source of requirement for me will be product owner. Okay. Now with lot of organizations, now with these lot of organizations shifting to agile way of doing work, okay. So in agile way, what happens is they expect BA to work with product owner. Remember we discussed about the term business stakeholder. So BA will be working with product owner to get requirements. Okay, and this product owner in turn will be working with the external stakeholder or clients. Okay, so BA will not be directly exposed to clients. BA, their primary point of contact is going to be the product owner. So product owner is working with the clients to understand how should we be building product, new features to be added. Okay, and then based on that discussion, pass on the information to BA so that BA can write down the requirement documents. Okay, but this may not be the case every time. Okay, sometimes a BA can be allowed, depending on the bandwidth of the product owner, to work directly with the product owner. Initially, as the first step, ask your question to product owner. If product owner does not know the answer, maybe product owner will direct you to the client, that go and directly ask the client this question. Or the product owner can approach client and ask question by themselves. Okay, so it could be either the first method or it could be either the second method. But nowadays for every BA, the primary point of contact is product owner, and then depending on the action taken by the product owner, either BA can approach client or through product owner. Okay, but do not try to directly approach client. Okay, now we don't want to bypass the hierarchy. So the reason why this rule was created is that we don't want client to get bombarded with different BAs approaching them for the requirement. Okay? So a product owner will typically approach client to discuss holistic approach and then come up with features that are needed in the application, and then give one feature to different teams or however the team is structured, and then BA and product owner will discuss on the features. For example, if I am, let's say, building a health insurance application, so what could be the different parts of health insurance application? One is to create a plan. Okay, what kind of plan and benefits? The next could be enrolling people under those plan. Let's say I have launched a new health insurance plan, okay, which offers lot of benefits, like you will have hospitalization benefits, non-hospitalization benefits, everything is included. A revolutionary plan is launched. Next thing is you advertise that plan so that people can enroll under it. Okay, people can buy it. Once people apply for the plan, then what you want to do is you want to take regular premium so that they are active under that plan. Okay, if people are hospitalized, if they have any claim, then what they do is they file for reimbursement. Okay, the next could be process the reimbursement, and then maybe in throughout this journey, if you have any issues, there could be customer support. Okay, now for someone out from outside, like a customer, this all looks like one big application. Okay, one application that is doing entire thing. So I can go to the health insurance company website, I can buy a health insurance plan, I can, once I have bought a plan, I can pay for regular premiums, I can file for claims, file for reimbursement. I can track the updates, how much has it processed, any issues. If there are any support needed, I can reach out to customer support. Everything looks as one application. But in IT industry, that is not how the applications are worked or designed. Okay. So on the surface, for a customer, it looks like one, but within IT industry, you can have one team that is working specifically on building plan and its benefits. There could be another team that is working specifically on enrollment, like how to receive customer data, what kind of validations we should have on customer data. Okay, what all information do we require from customer, like their name, date of birth, their address, then smoking habits, drinking habits, what all information do we need from people at the time of enrollment, so that we can validate that information and then accordingly add them to a plan or benefit. Okay. Then similarly, there could be a billing team that will be responsible for generating premium letters, that you have so and so outstanding payment. There could be an accounts team which is responsible for tracking payments against their bills. There could be a claim team which is responsible for receiving reimbursement request, processing that request. Okay, and accordingly, there could be last one, the customer support team as well. Okay, so in an IT company, you can have all these multiple teams trying to build their individual part, individual application, and this individual application, when combined together, you see one big health insurance portal. Okay, so now these individual uh, domains or individual sub applications, they usually have their lead product owner. So there could be one lead product owner for each one of them. Okay. Similarly for billing, accounts, claims, and customer support as well. Okay. This lead product owner is responsible for designing the vision and mission of that sub application. And then under that lead product owner, you can have multiple BAs working together. Okay, so that's how a product owner who is responsible for designing the vision and mission of the application, okay, works with the client to see what features we may require, how to move forward, and then accordingly give task to the BA. Okay, so that's what is represented over here, that the IT team will majorly have these people who are responsible for execution, and product owner who is responsible for designing, for driving all these or coming up for all these features that may be needed in the application. Okay, so as a BA, most of the companies, they allow you to work with product owner first, and if product owner permits, then you go and work with client as well. Okay, now generally these teams are called, as I have mentioned, that as IT team. Okay, but there could be different name given to them. Okay, some people call them engineering team, okay, development team, okay, execution team, or simply the IT team. Okay, or you may even have some fancy name as well. Okay, all are trying to say the same thing about this particular team over here. Okay, now how do I know when should I be involved with an architect or not? So that usually depends on the project size that you are undertaking. Normally, if if you are if you are someone who is new to IT industry, you can use project size as a reference to identify whether a technical architect could be involved or not. But once you spend sufficient time in IT industry, maybe 6 months or 1 year, once you execute couple of projects, you will get used to it. Okay, you don't have to refer to the project size. You can take up decisions on your own. Okay. Now, generally, the project size are categorized as small project size, medium, large, complex. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that these are the only ones available, but broadly, the organizations try to categorize work into these categories. They may not have the exact name as such, they may use a different name also, but eventually it all comes down to the number of hours, the estimation. Okay, so remember yesterday we were saying about estimation is usually done in number of hours. So any project that is less than equal to 500 hours is considered as a small project. Okay, any project that takes more than 500 hours, but let's say less than 1500 hours, is considered as a medium complexity project. Anything that takes more than 1500 hours and less than 3000 hours is considered as a large project. And lastly, anything above 3000 hours is considered as a complex project. Okay, so the major deciding factor is the number of hours it is going to take. Please note that estimations usually indicate BA hour plus your QA hour plus the developer hour, okay, plus other people as well. Okay, 500 hour does not mean only BA work. Estimation is usually at the project level. See, we are talking about the project size and not about the individual person. So project usually indicates all the people involved in it, okay, and not just one particular entity. So in the starting, usually for small projects, you don't require a technical architect. Okay, that's based my experience. For example, what could be a small project? Let's say I have this file option, then edit, and then view. Okay. Now what I want is I want to swap the position of edit and view. Like I want to move view before edit, or you can say I want to move edit option after view. That's the change I want to do. Okay. Or maybe at the top it says day 6 business analyst batch 8. Okay. I don't want to display the name of the file. I want to display the name of the first character that appears over here. Okay. So maybe I just want to display that. So for these minor changes, okay, we may not require help of a technical architect because there is an existing application. In that existing application, we just want to change a functionality. Okay. In such instances, it's not a huge work. It can usually be done within 500 hours, and that is why you do not require a technical architect. Okay. So normally, in my experience, any small and medium complexity projects, they do not require a technical architect. The inclusion of technical architect starts from here. Okay. So large and complex projects, they usually indicate that either I am redesigning my entire application, whatever currently I'm doing, that is not working out, and maybe my application has become slow, it is not giving appropriate responses, it is not able to handle the traffic. So I want to redesign or re-engineer the entire application, or maybe I want to build a new application from scratch. So large and complex size projects either indicate I either want to redesign, or I want to create a new application, or or maybe it's a very big work that has come into pipeline. Okay. So either of the three, the project size or the estimation will be huge, and because of the bigger size of estimation, you may require a technical architect to be involved over here. Okay, so for someone new starting as a BA, maybe if it's a small work, that could be an indication that you don't require a BA, sorry, you don't require a technical architect, a TA. But if it's a huge work, big work, maybe you are trying to re-engineer, redesign the application or build a new application, or there's a new work that has come in and it's complex in nature. Okay, and it has lot of estimations attached to it, then you require a technical architect. Okay, so for you that could be a starting metrics to identify whether or not get involved with technical architect. But like I said, these are only for the initial days. Once you gain more experience, once you gather that knowledge, you will remember all these things at the back of your head, whether I should go and talk to a technical architect or not. Okay. Maybe after 1 year, after 2 years, you don't even bother to see what's the estimate. Okay. You will just read the description about the project and you will get to know, okay, yeah, I know technical architect needs to be involved or doesn't need to be involved. Okay. And even after knowing about the project size, if you are still confused, you ask the BA lead, like I said, or your lead BA. Okay, that will be the primary point of contact for you to address any of your questions or concerns. Okay. Remember, I said your growth concerns, your technical doubts, they all can come go to your BA lead, or maybe if you are comfortable with your peer group, then from your peer group as well you can be asking questions. See, the important thing for a BA is to get the work done. Okay, to me it does not matter whether I'm asking question to my junior, to my senior, or to my lead, or to my manager. The most important aspect for any BA is to get the work done. So for that whoever I have to ask questions from. Okay, so we looked at both the topics, that is the IT team structure and the project size. Any questions guys so far? Okay, sure, no questions yet. So we'll move forward. Now, the next thing that we are going to discuss is about the skills that may be required for you to be or to succeed in your role of BA. Okay, so this was about team sizes, and the next will be about skills that may be required. Now, we already talked about some of the core skills like having a good communication skill. We also talked about being able to manage your stakeholders, facilitation skills. Okay, so I'll not again bore you guys with all that repeated discussions, but we will touch upon something that we have not earlier discussed. Okay, so for example, a BA will be spending lot of time over meetings. So how do we conduct our meetings? Okay, that's your facilitation skills. Okay. Second is leadership. Just now I said it does not matter whether I'm asking question to a junior, to a senior, to a lead, to a manager. What really matters is to get the work moving. Okay. Whatever it takes for me to ensure that work continues to move forward. I should not be a bottleneck to anyone's work. Like suppose a developer is dependent on me. We said developer is dependent on a BA to get requirements. Without requirements, developer cannot write code. So if I sit back saying that, I'm not able to get time from stakeholder, and or the stakeholder is saying I'm very busy, I cannot give you any time, and then I'm sitting idle saying that until stakeholder gives me time, how can I write requirement? And without requirement, my entire team is stuck. Okay. So that could be one attitude wherein you use problems as an opportunity to not do your work, or you demonstrate your leadership skills and ensure that the work is done. Okay. So maybe you can, like how I used to do is, if stakeholder is going in very busy, I usually request them for a time that may be outside of my working schedule. Maybe I'm working from India. Maybe my work timings are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. But the stakeholder is not available during my working hours. But I can see that at around 10 p.m. my time, the stakeholder is available. Okay. So maybe for few days, I can change my work schedule. Rather than working from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., I can probably change my schedule to work from 1 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Okay, so that I can meet with stakeholder, get requirements, and get the ball rolling. Okay, so that is your leadership skills. How do I ensure that the work keeps moving forward rather than using problems as an opportunity to say I cannot work because there is some problem? How do I come around it? And there could be chances where I don't have the solution. Maybe I should talk to my lead what I should do, so that even they will think that this person is serious about doing the work rather than playing around bushes. This person is actually asking for solutions. And you can say that I thought about this problem, but I could not find a solution. Maybe at my experience, I'm not able to think about a solution. So can you help me come up with a solution to this problem? And your seniors, your leaders, they will definitely help you come up with that. So these are all leadership skills. Okay? If you look at leaders, they always ensure that the work keeps moving forward, that problems are not used as an opportunity to stop the work. In fact, problems are used as an opportunity to further streamline the work. Okay. So we will look at how do you conduct meetings, facilitation skills. Okay. We will take a look at your communication aspect as well. How do we ensure that we communicate better with our stakeholders? Okay, and one of the key skills is going to be your listening skills, because you will be attending lot of meetings. So it is important for you to listen to what people are saying. Okay, before you ask questions, before you jump to conclusions, always listen to what people are saying. Most of the time problems are solved just by listening. If you listen to someone thoroughly, you would realize that okay, maybe most of my doubts are answered as well. We often jump quickly before letting anyone complete their statement. We just listen to 2 3 words of their statement or half of the statement, and then immediately jump to asking questions. Okay? So that's not a good habit. Allow others to finish their statements, allow others to take pause, and then you ask your question. Even after listening, if you still have doubts, definitely ask questions. But most of the time, if you listen to people, your questions will get answered. Okay, I'm not saying that every time listening will give all the answers. Okay, but rather than jumping back and forth, listening will ensure that you develop the habit of patience as well. Now, how do I conduct meeting? Like I was saying, so we already discussed about few of the skills like communication. Or let me just copy paste from here. Okay, so communication skills, stakeholder management, documentation skills, clarity, proactive. What is this proactive? Proactive is like I'll give you two statements. Okay. Now, which one out of the two you think is being proactive? Okay. You can either unmute yourself, answer, or you can even ping your answer in the chat box as well. Which one of the two statements do you think demonstrate the skill of proactive, being proactive? Okay, come on, there's no harm in trying. There are no wrong marks for wrong answers. Sorry, there are no negative marking for wrong answers. Plus, you will not be removed from class if you give wrong answers. The only thing is, it encourages discussion. Anyone? Devisha, Neetu, Sunny. Okay, looks
Can you
like
please
none
repeat
of
the
you want.
hello? Yeah,
Yeah,
hi
go
Rahul.
ahead.
Can you repeat the question once again, please?
Which of the two statements that are highlighted demonstrate the skill of being proactive? So which
I
one
prefer
you
with
see?
second one. I prefer with second one because it has to complete clearly, right?
Yes, yes, that's right. So that's the second statement which actually demonstrate being proactive. Okay. So the first statement actually demonstrate a skill that is called reactive. Okay. Someone asks me something and then I react to it. Okay. So we don't want BAs to react. We want them to proactively take steps. For example, I'm working with a stakeholder, then and I know that stakeholder is very demanding in nature. So what I'll do is I will share updates with of every day with the stakeholder, so that stakeholder gets the confidence that this BA is working on it. Okay, or suppose if project manager is asking for status updates or scrum master is asking for status updates, I will share the updates with them on a timely basis, preferably without them reaching out to me. That is being proactive. Okay? I'm not reacting to their statement. I'm proactively, before they asking me, I'm reaching out to them, giving them updates and ensuring that my work is finished before time. Now, coming back to meetings, how do we conduct meetings? For conducting meetings, always ensure few things. Number one is the right participants' involvement. Okay. Now, rather than inviting the entire team, if you think only one or two-person in the team can answer your questions, invite only those person. Okay. What we often do is we try to conduct meetings wherein we are trying to involve lot of people, preferably 10, 20 people, 30 people, not needed. If you think only one or two people are going to answer to your question, invite only those. Okay, many a times what happens is there will be 10, 20 people involved in the meeting. Everyone will jump to meeting, but only 2, 3 people will be talking to each other. So we are simply wasting the time of the remaining people. If only 2 or 3 people are going to discuss in the meeting, then let's ensure that only those 2 or 3 people are present in the meeting. That's it. Involvement of the right participants. So before you send out any meeting invites, always ensure that the right participants are invited. Okay, we don't have to invite the entire team if they are not going to contribute in the meeting. People who can contribute should only be invited. The second thing is, whenever we send out meeting invites, ensure to publish agenda. Okay, this further helps us ensure that the right category of people get the message. Suppose I'm going to discuss about the technical solution for the requirement. Okay, and then I send the meeting invite accidentally to my QA or the tester. The QA, because the QA will look at the agenda, can come back to me and say that, hey Rahul, I think you have wrongly invited me. Looking at the agenda, it seems like you want to invite a different participant. Then I can realize my mistake. Oh yeah, based on the agenda, I should have invited not QA but the technical architect. Okay, so most often what we do is we simply write the name of participants, we simply write the subject line of the meeting and then send the invite. When the meeting comes, during the meeting, Then when we are trying to discuss, we realize that, oh, my technical architect is missing. Looks like I accidentally sent meeting invite to the tester. Now tester has joined the meeting. I have joined the meeting. I can only explain to them, I wrongly invited you. You can drop off from the call. Then I'll try to ping technical architect who may be busy in another meeting. So what happened? My time wasted. So rather than wasting on the time, these are the tips that I'm sharing from my experience. Okay. If you follow these tips, these will help you improve your productivity, demonstrate better professionalism, conduct your meetings with more accuracy as well. Okay. So one thing is involvement of right participants. Two is publishing agendas to ensure that the participants always can listen, can always read what you want to discuss. So that if they feel based on the agenda, if they feel someone else needs to be included, they can let you know. Suppose I'm going to discuss on requirements related to e-commerce application and I have sent an invite to my product owner. Product owner looks at the agenda that what Rahul wants to discuss. Based on the agenda, product owner thinks that maybe we should involve client as well. So product owner can ask me to include client as well in the meeting. So that is why it is very important that along with right participants you publish agenda as well. Okay, next thing is recording the meeting. If your organization allows, okay, if your organization allows, you ensure that you record the meetings. For example, see what I am doing. I'm starting this class, and as soon as I started the class, I started recording as well. Why am I recording? So that people who could not attend can listen into recording, or even for people who attended, if they want to revise or recap, they can look into this recording. Okay, so recording can help us recollect, remember things at a later point in time. So that's very important. If your organization allows, record the meetings. In case if your organization does not allow this recording part, then ensure that you take notes. Okay, for taking notes, if you see what I am doing, I'm not writing complete English statements. Look at this one, communication skills. I did not write complete English statement like BA should demonstrate the necessary communication skills. I know it will take me a lot of time to write that complete English statement. So what I am writing is, I'm writing the specific pointers, the keywords. Okay. So the art of writing notes is to include, when you are writing notes, is to include pointers or keywords and not worry about the entire English statement. If you try to write down entire statement, you will miss the main logic. So keep only the pointers or keywords. Once the meeting is over, then you can convert notes to appropriate statements. Okay, and then share the minutes of meeting, or what is often abbreviated as MOM. Okay? Share the MOM or minutes of meeting. Okay. Why at the end we want to share the minutes of the meeting? So that everyone can pitch in. Maybe let's say we discussed 6 different topics, but in my notes somehow I captured only 5 topics and I shared those 5 topics through MOM. Okay, so after the meeting is over, I reply to the invite and then I put down all the 5 topics we discussed. Then the participants can immediately point out, okay, you know what? We discussed 6 topics, you have written only 5. The sixth topic was this one and you missed it. Okay. So mistakes can happen. We all are human beings, and we all are prone to making mistakes. So that's not a big deal. That's the reason why we want to identify our mistakes as early as possible. I don't want everything to end and then later identify mistakes. I want to identify mistakes in the earlier phases itself. The moment I share 5 topics in MOM and someone points me with the sixth topic that you missed the sixth topic, this was the sixth topic, I immediately correct myself. I immediately correct my notes as well. Okay. Now I know. Imagine I would have written just those 5 topics in my requirement document, did all that, and then share the requirement document with the stakeholder. And then stakeholder tells me, hey, you know what? We discussed 6 requirements. Why have you written only 5 requirements in your document? And then I will be scratching my head thinking that the meeting happened 1 week back. What was the sixth topic? I don't remember the sixth topic. Then they will give me the sixth topic, then maybe we'll need to have more discussion. Okay. So that is where we want to avoid all these mistakes, delays at a later point in time. So that's why I am sending out the MOM as early as possible, okay, so that I can avoid any delays further. Now, there is a certain way to share MOM, okay, that is meeting of minutes. Whenever you are sharing MOM, or even let's say when you are writing a regular email where you expect a response from someone, where you are expecting someone to answer to your question, okay, so there is a certain way. So when it comes to MOM, you always share the notes first, okay, what all we discussed. So these notes basically capture topics discussed, okay, open questions if there are any. Okay. The second thing is action items. Okay, even when I'm sending email, you can say that for email, let's say instead of notes, I will give a background and then action items. Okay. Now, what exactly is this action items? Action item is basically an action or request that someone else need to fulfill. Okay. Suppose I was discussing requirements, and in that requirement, there was one question. So the client said, we want online payments. We want online payments in our e-commerce platform. For their online payments, I asked them, do you want UPI, okay, credit card, debit card, all, or only UPI, credit card, or debit card? Okay, like that I asked. And they said, that's a good question, but we don't know the answer yet. So they said, let us discuss and get back to you. Okay. Now what happened is there is an open question. There is an open question. What should be our online payment mode? This question was not answered by my stakeholder. So that constitutes an action item that they need to take an action on this question. Okay. So whenever I'm writing down action items, what people usually do is they write like this: stakeholder to provide answer on what should be the online payment mode. Okay, that is how usually people try to frame action items. But what I say is, usually you should try to put action items like this: what action someone needs to take, plus who needs to take that action, okay, plus the timeline before which they should respond, plus impact it can have if they miss the timeline. So now in this particular format that I gave, stakeholder to provide answer on what should be the online payment mode. Okay, now the answer to be provided by, let's say, I'm giving them 1 week time. I did all my calculations. If they give me answer in 1 week, I should be good. So I'll say by 13th September to avoid any delays in the work. Okay, so indirectly I am telling them, if you don't provide me an answer by 13th September, chances are this project can get delayed. Okay, if I get late response, I will create requirement documents late. If requirement documents are created late, my development team will start their work late. If they start work late, the entire process also subsequently gets delayed. Okay, it's a cyclic event. Suppose if you want to reach office by 11 a.m., what you will do? You will try to start by 10 a.m. If you start by 10:30 a.m., what happens? You are automatically delayed. Okay, there could be more traffic to further delay things. Now usually this second piece of item that I have mentioned is what you should try to write your action items on. It always gives a clear picture to the person who needs to take action. For example, if I know the name of the stakeholder ABC to provide answer, that ABC person will know, number one, that I need to take an action, number two, what action do I need to take, number three, by what is my timeline before which I have to respond, and what happens if I don't respond by that timeline. Okay, so that actually creates a sense of urgency on the receiver. If I simply say, just provide me the answer, I don't want them to provide answers after 1 month. Na? After 1 month, there will be no use of their answer. I want them to provide answer within 1 week. So that is why this entire format. So always remember, during meetings, what should happen? After meetings, share the MOM. When you are sharing MOM, always share notes. Okay. These notes are now, let me say, like rather than notes, these are actual statements. Okay, whenever you are sharing MOM, always ensure that you are noting down all the appropriate statements plus the action items. Both must be present. If there is no action item on anyone, suppose you discussed 5 topics, you asked questions, all your questions were answered, then you can simply say action items none. Okay, but get into habit of keeping action items. The same thing happens with your emails as well. When you are writing down email to someone, you expect a response from them. Okay. In order to get better chances of getting those responses, again, try to follow this format. Okay. If you want a response from someone, you should always mention who should give the response. Okay, then what kind of action, or you can say question, you have for them. Okay, if there is any timeline before which they have to respond, and what happens if they miss those timelines, and then we follow up. Okay, so you follow up, you add a reminder for yourself that if I don't get response within 2 days, I will follow up with the person. Okay, but as much as possible, try to conduct your meetings in this particular fashion. If you have right participants list, you will have a more productive meeting. People will be discussing, contributing around the topic, and you will keep moving forward. Okay, if you don't have the right participant, maybe publishing agenda will attract the right audience as well. Okay, recording is the best option. Like in my previous organization, we had the option of recording, so I used to always record and never take notes, because I feel taking notes distract us. Okay, so I used to always record the meeting. Once the meeting is over, I will listen to the recording again, and then from the recording I will take the notes. Okay, and whatever I listen from the recording I will make notes, and then using those notes I will prepare MOM. Okay, at the end without fail I'll make sure that once the meeting is over that I share the MOM, so that the entire participants are aware of what we discussed, what topics we have discussed during the meeting. Is there any action item that anyone from the participants need to take? Okay, so that's where people can take appropriate actions as well. If I miss anything on statements, people can correct me there also, so that I realize my mistakes earlier in the early part of the game rather than realizing my mistake at the end. Okay, the same thing I use on emails as well. Whenever I'm writing down email to anyone expecting that they will respond to my email, I will always ensure that I ask the relevant question. I put forward the question to the person who should respond. I give them a timeline and what happens if they don't, or what could be the impact if I don't get a response within that timeline. Plus, on top of all this, I can set up a reminder for myself that if I don't get a response by today, I will ping them tomorrow. If I don't get response again tomorrow, I'll again ping them the day after, so that I keep appropriate reminders for myself, so that I follow up with them. At the end of it, what happens is, even after sending emails and multiple follow-ups, they don't respond. At least no one will come and question me. I can tell them that, hey, I sent email, I did follow-ups, I pinged them, but never got a response. So the now the entire blame will shift onto the person who never responded. Okay. So keep these things in mind. As a BA, you'll be spending a lot of time under facilitation, and you'll be communicating a lot. Okay. So keep these things in mind. These will really help you move forward. Other than these things, there are certain dynamic aspects of being BA. For example, the industry knowledge. Today, you may be working for a health insurance client, so you'll have to learn about health insurance industry. Tomorrow you may work for a banking client, so you may have to learn about the banking industry. Okay, so that's a dynamic thing. Now, the other thing is methodology knowledge. So we will be discussing about waterfall and agile in our course. So that will give you the appropriate methodology knowledge. Okay. Other than that, the organization knowledge, I think we all have done it. Before we appear for any interview, we try to do some research on what that organization is, how many people are employed there, what is their vision, who is their CEO. Okay, so like that, we try to connect ourselves with the organization, okay, by learning about the organization. So these are some of the things. Industry knowledge being the dynamic part, you have to keep learning. Eventually, after you gain substantial experience, for example, for me, at the end, I settled down with health insurance industry. So I worked with a banking domain company, then I worked with health insurance industry, and then eventually I realized that, as you gain more experience, you cannot keep switching domains. You have to pick one domain and then build your expertise in it. So eventually I decided to stick with health insurance, so that I work only in health insurance related projects now, because I have built expertise over there, domain knowledge expertise. Now I switch over there. If there are no health insurance projects, probably tomorrow I'll switch to another domain. That's a different thing. But yeah, so for now, that will be your dynamic aspect, that you have to keep learning industry and the organization you are going to work with. Now that is all from today. Guys, I'll give you one small assignment. I'll give you a link of a video. Okay. It's a YouTube video. It's around 6 to 7 minutes of the video. Okay. What you have to do is, over the weekend, you have 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. Over the weekend, go through that video. What I want you to do is to prepare notes or MOM on it. Okay. prepare minutes of meeting on it. Consider that video like a meeting going on. Okay, so listen into that meeting and then prepare MOM from what you understood out of that video. Okay, we will review that assignment on Monday as the first thing, and then move with our topic of SDLC, software development life cycle. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. Thank you guys. Keep an eye out on for assignment and please complete the assignment before Monday morning. Okay. Thank you everyone. We'll connect on Monday.